Chris Brown, a name that sparks both admiration and controversy. To some, he's one of the most talented performers of his generation, a singer, dancer, and entertainer whose talent rivals the greats. To others, he's a fallen star, a man whose mistakes nearly destroyed everything he built. But behind the fame, the headlines, and the chaos lies a complex story, one of talent, turmoil, and transformation. In this video, we'll explore the incredible rise of Chris Brown, the scandal that almost ended his career, his road to redemption, and how he managed to remain one of the most influential artists in modern music. This is the story of Chris Brown, the rise, fall, and redemption of a modern icon. Christopher Maurice Brown was born on May 5, 1989 in Tappahannock, Virginia, a tiny town with less than 2,000 residents. From an early age, Chris showed a natural gift for performance. He'd imitate his idols, Michael Jackson, Usher, and Stevie Wonder, singing and dancing around the house, turning every moment into a show. But his childhood wasn't easy. Chris has spoken about growing up in a household marked by domestic violence, a painful experience that would later shape parts of his emotional world and decision-making. Even so, his love for music never faded. He started performing in his church choir, joined local talent shows, and began dreaming of something bigger. At just 13 years old, fate intervened. A local production team discovered him and introduced him to record executives in New York. Within a year, Chris signed with Jive Records, the same label that had launched Britney Spears and Usher. In 2005, at only 16, he released his debut single, Run It, and it shot straight to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, making him the first male artist in over a decade to top the charts with his debut single. His first album, Chris Brown, went double platinum. The world had found its next R&B superstar. From 2006 to 2008, Chris Brown was unstoppable. With hits like Yo, Excuse Me Miss, With You, and Forever, he became a household name. His smooth voice, electrifying dance moves, and undeniable charisma made him the face of young R&B. He wasn't just a singer, he was a performer, a dancer, a trendsetter. People called him the next Michael Jackson. He also branched into acting, starring in Stomp the Yard and This Christmas. By the age of 18, Chris Brown had gone from small-town Virginia to global stardom. But just when everything seemed perfect, his world was about to collapse. In February 2009, on the night before the Grammy Awards, shocking news broke. Chris Brown had assaulted his then-girlfriend, pop superstar Rihanna. The world was stunned. Photos of Rihanna's injuries were released to the public, and within hours, Chris's image went from golden boy to villain. Endorsements dropped, radio stations banned his music, he was uninvited from the Grammys. The same media that had built him up was now tearing him down. He later pleaded guilty to felony assault, received probation, and was ordered to attend counseling and community labor. For many, that moment defined Chris Brown. The world turned its back on him, but Chris wasn't ready to give up. This was not the end of his story. After the incident, Chris Brown faced years of backlash, but behind the scenes, he focused on one thing: his music. In 2011, he released his fourth album, FAME, which stood for Forgiving All My Enemies. The message was clear. With songs like Look at Me Now and Yeah 3X, he reminded the world why he was special. That year, Chris Brown won a Grammy Award for Best R&B Album, his first ever. It marked the beginning of a slow, complicated comeback. In interviews, he showed remorse, spoke about personal growth, and tried to rebuild his reputation, not just as an artist, but as a man. Over the next decade, Chris would release a string of successful albums: Fortune 2012, X 2014, Royalty 2015, and Heartbreak on a Full Moon 2017. Each project showed a more mature sound, a fusion of R&B, hip-hop, and pop that appealed to fans old and new. Despite criticism, one thing was clear: Chris Brown's work ethic was unmatched. To understand Chris Brown, you have to understand his artistry. He's not just a singer, he's a creative powerhouse. He writes, produces, paints, and directs. His performances are legendary, blending choreography, live vocals, and visual spectacle. Few artists today can match his stage presence. And beyond music, he's a gifted visual artist known for painting large-scale murals and even designing his own album covers. From graffiti to indigo, his music often mirrors his personal journey. Chaotic, colorful, but undeniably expressive. Over the years, Chris has sold over 150 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling R&B artists of all time. He's collaborated with everyone, from Justin Bieber and Lil Wayne to Drake, Nicki Minaj, and Wizkid. Love him or hate him, his talent is undeniable. But despite his success, controversy continued to follow Chris Brown. Over the years, he faced additional legal issues, altercations, restraining orders, and public disputes that reignited old criticisms. Each incident reminded the public that Chris Brown's story is one of extremes, extraordinary talent shadowed by deep flaws. Some fans believe he's a changed man who's matured and learned from his past. Others feel his fame has protected him from accountability. The truth perhaps lies somewhere in between. 2 decades later, Chris Brown remains one of the most influential figures in modern music. His dance style, vocal tone, and visual creativity have inspired an entire generation of artists, from Bryson Tiller, Tory Lanez, and The Weeknd, to newer stars like H.E.R., Chloe, and Normani. He bridged the gap between R&B, pop, and hip-hop, redefining what it means to be a performer in the 21st century. And through every mistake, every comeback, every headline, Chris Brown has managed to remain relevant in an industry that moves faster than ever. That, in itself, is a rare achievement. Chris Brown's story is complicated. It's the story of a man blessed with incredible talent and burdened by his own demons. A man who fell, faced the world's judgment, and kept creating, not for headlines, but for healing. Whether you see him as a legend, a villain, or a work in progress, one thing is certain. His influence on music, dance, and culture will echo for generations. Throughout his career, Chris Brown has created an incredible catalog of hits that have defined R&B and pop music. Let's take a moment to appreciate some of his most iconic songs: Run It, Forever, With You, Kiss Kiss, No Guidance, Loyal, Look at Me Now, Yeah 3X, Deuces, Go Crazy, Turn Up the Music, Fine China, Ayo, Gimme That, and Wall to Wall. Each of these tracks showcases his versatility as an artist and his ability to create timeless music. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Chris Brown's story. If you enjoyed this deep dive into music history, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more fascinating stories about your favorite artists. We're constantly exploring the lives and legacies of music's most influential figures, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. Until next time.